Like, whenever we go in a bookstore, you go in with a plan. You're like, oh, these are the books I want. And I'm like,
That's true.
wow, I want this one and this one and this one. And Blake's like, girl, you want none of those.
Welcome to the Book Angle, where we talk about books from different angles and sometimes go in circles. I'm Anna, and this is Sabrina. And today we're going to be playing. I don't even know what to call it. What is the game that we're playing today?
Who's more likely to?
Yeah,
Bookish edition?
it's kind of like the wedding game where, like a bride and groom will be back to back, and one holds up their like shoe for whoever they think is more likely to do something.
Yeah. Who's
So
more likely to hog the covers? Boom. Who's more likely to do this?
we've
Leave
got
dishes
our
beside the sink, not
yeah.
in the sink.
So we've
Yeah.
got our little name plates here.
And this is the middle if it's like both of us. But mm, we're starting off hot. We're starting off hot. You ready?
Yeah.
Question one. Who's more of a risk to bring to bookstore? I guess who's the biggest book spender? Okay.
I feel like
Three.
the answer
Oh.
will change depending on different times in our lives.
And it makes me feel any better. I was like, it's me. Like, whenever we go in a bookstore, you go in with a plan. You're like, oh, these are the books I want. And I'm like,
That's true.
wow, I want this one and this one and this one. And Blake's like, girl, you want none of those. So,
It has to be on my list. If it's not on my list, I can't buy it. Or sometimes I go in and I'm like, I can't if I'm going to find something that's not on my list and I have to be super wowed by it, and I usually don't end up buying something in that case.
mm,
Having a lot of
yeah,
medical bills coming up has really
that's fair.
cut my book buying budget.
I think that, like, that, but even that aside, I do like if it were. No medical bills coming up. I still think you are someone who typically has a list. And if it's not
Yeah.
on the list, you'll add it for next time. And I'm like, what list? Budget. Uh-oh.
The list is like 100 books long.
Yeah. So me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Who is the tougher book critic? Three, two, one. Yeah.
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 Yeah. There have been books that we've read where I feel like you were more tough on that specific book, but I think in general I tend to be more critical of. But I still enjoy reading. I don't think it's a bad.
Yeah.
I haven't verged on. I personally feel like I have not verged on the like book snob. I I just tend to be a little bit more like I can't enjoy certain things.
I've noticed that it's actually, with the exception of The Cruel Prince with Holly Black, it's usually when you reread stuff. Like, I think you can live in the moment better the first time, and then when you do it again, you're like, mm.
Well, it's because we're rereading Throne of Glass, and
That
Throne of
too.
Glass is not
Uh,
holding up as well. Specifically, this series.
Fair, but even just like certain other things, and we hadn't reread it, but like we both were. The only other example we have to compare it to would be like Fourth Wing, where we both ranked it high, and then we talked about it again. We were like, no.
No.
No. So I think that I think, but I do, the way that I have envisioned this is that normally like old school American Idol, right? Paula Abdul, she loves everyone. So it's like, okay, Paula, go off to the corner. Neither one of us are Paulas. But I
Okay.
think that you probably are more Simon Cowell, where you do have like, what's good. And I'm Brandy, where I'm like, this was really bad, dog. So it's like I just kind of I have like the tone of voice that makes it sound nice, but I'm like, that wasn't good. So we're
I'm thinking of Assistant to the Villain. That
I was
one
really tough.
you were really tough on, and I was actually like, it was kind of fun. It didn't. The plot was kind of interesting at the end. There was some points that did not make sense, but overall it
Yeah.
was fun. And you're like, no.
No, I was Simon in that
Yeah.
case. But in general, I think that we're probably very aligned, but I'm more of the Randy, like, yeah,
Yeah.
no. So, okay. Who's most likely to get their favorite book quote tattooed?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, neither. Like,
Uh, you're
I didn't
the.
even want to do middle because I don't know.
I don't know because I don't have any tattoos. You do
Okay.
have tattoos, but I don't really see
Yeah.
you as a book quote person.
And I'm getting tattoos removed.
Yeah.
I am that person who was like, as soon as I was 18, I was like, woohoo! And then I'm like, oh. So I just feel like it would be hard. Man, that book would have to change my life
hmm
for me to want a tattoo.
I'm not against getting tattoos. I have tattoo designs that I would really like to get, but a book quote is not one of them because I change so much as I grow older. Like, I might really like this now, but am I going to really enjoy it 10 years from now? Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think there's this lady on TikTok who got Tamlin tattooed before she finished the series.
Oh my god.
Have you not seen her?
Why would you do that?
That
Before
is
you
so funny.
finished this series?
She got it and she posted it and she posts stuff all the time. She's like, "You think you can hurt me? I got Tamlin tattooed on me." Like, you know those memes
Yeah.
or those videos?
Yeah.
And it's just so bad. And everyone's like, "You can cover it with bat wings." And she's like, "No, this is a badge of honor for me. I laid my bed. I'm just or I made my bed. I'm just gonna lay in it." It's really funny.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Who's more likely to get distracted by their phones while reading a book? 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
I
Mm,
do get distracted. But I think that I get less distracted as often as you do, maybe.
yeah. You try to say that nicely. No, it's the fact. I've never seen someone who can ignore all of the surroundings like you do when you're reading a book. Like
Yeah, someone could
I,
be talking to me. I'm not. If it's a good book, I am not registering anything going on around me.
yeah. If someone starts talking to me, I'm like, I get like, what do I do here? Like I still want to read my book, but I can't focus. That's why friends where you can sit on the couch and read and not speak are great.
hmm
They're great. But okay. Hmm. Who's more likely to cry during a sad scene in a book? 3, 2, 1. Maybe me. It's more me, but I think it's in the middle.
we're both not emotional readers, so neither
Um,
of us are likely to cry in general.
right.
And it what will make us cry is probably the same thing.
Right.
So it's hard to say. Depends on the day. I think it really depends on the day.
I agree. I was literally just talking about this last night with another friend. I was like, so Anna and I have a lot of the same problems, which means that when something gets us, it gets us real good. So speak like the Emily Henry book
Yeah.
got us really good. But it would probably, I would say it's like still probably more like 55 me, but I don't think it's like, oh, Sabrina.
Right.
Okay. Um, Who has the tougher time DNFing a book? 3, 2, 1. Oh,
Mm.
okay. Why do you think it's me?
I don't know. I feel like we've had conversations about books where I was like, we should just not keep reading. And you're like, no, we got to finish it.
Oh, that's not for my personal time. That's
Oh.
like, because when that's happened, most of the time it's been for like YouTube, and I'm not a fast reader, so if we just decided let's do this instead, I'd be like, oh gosh, I can't read that fast. I think it's coming from that place.
Mm.
I have just I was thinking this in reverse because you're like, I'm already 80% of the way in. Like I have to just finish for
Oh.
you.
Yeah, I guess I mean if I'm 80% in, then yeah, I finish. All right, but I normally can tell if I'm going to DNF a book within the first like 30 to 50 pages.
Mm,
And if I'm not hooked in those 30 to 50 pages, I don't keep going.
that's fair. Yeah,
I got other things to do. I got other books I want to read.
time is finite.
Yeah.
We have to make sure to read the books we want. Um, who is the tougher person to sell on a book recommendation? Three, two, one. Oh, I was like, is it me again? Why do you think it's me?
I I I think it's you because you don't like as much fantasy. And so it's harder for me to sell you on books specifically, I think. Um because a lot of what I like to read, I'm not sure you would actually like it.
I don't think you've recommended a book to me that I haven't liked. So either you choose really wisely, or they're just good. But I don't think that it would be hard for me to get you to read a book. I just think that because of your list and because you already know what you want to read, I think it can be harder to be like, consider this one because you're like, but I want to read this one. So it's not that you're like closed-minded. I just think it's because you have like a mental cue of what you want to read.
Right.
So that was why I thought you. Um, but I don't know. Also, like all of my books recently have been fantasy. I can't
Yeah,
remember the last time I haven't read one.
yeah, but I remember a time where you were like, I really only like magical realism. I don't really like
That's true.
fantasy. And
If it's
I've
really
worn you down.
complicated. Yeah, maybe you showed me the light. I've seen the way. Also, it wasn't complicated magic like
Yeah.
fantasy because I always thought it was like just really intense worlds and really the only like I don't have a ton of good examples of books like that where I've been like this is a lot to take in.
Brandon
Uh,
Sanderson, but you haven't read anything but Trust of the Emerald Sea. So if you were to read his other works, you would feel that way 100%.
mm. You'll get me there one day.
Yeah.
Couple more years of this, and then I'll be like, oh, I read all of Mistborn and Wayward Kings. What's the one that you really like by him?
I haven't actually read Way of Kings.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the series. Through my archives, is it like his most popular series? And I haven't read it yet because they're like 1,000 pages long, and there's 4 or 5 books in the series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We need 5 more years of you before I read that. Okay. Um, who's more likely to finish a book in a day? I don't even think we need a countdown. Like, we know. We know.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. Okay. Who's more likely to stay awake late debating a book's ending? Yeah,
Yeah. I don't debate it. The debating is what throwing me off there.
I don't really debate either, but I go on Reddit
Yeah,
and I see other people's
that's why I
debates.
said you.
Every time I finish a book, I'm like, what did the peoples on Reddit say? I love the arguments I see on Reddit. Okay. I don't know if either of us do this, but let's see. Who's more likely to read multiple books at the same time? Maybe you, but I don't think we do this.
We don't really. There are times where I've done like an audiobook of one book and then I've been reading a physical copy of a different book. Um, I don't normally do that because normally if I'm doing audiobook and physical, it's the same book.
Yeah.
Um, but I have done that before where like two things are just really catching my interest.
I really only did that when I was teaching and I had to read certain books for the classroom and I wanted certain books for fun. I don't do that anymore because
Yeah.
I'm like, I need one book at a time. But Yeah. Okay. Who's more likely to own special editions of their favorite books? Three, two, one.
Yeah. Honestly though, I don't I I'm not really into special editions.
Yeah.
Um Not that I would appreciate having one. I don't want to spend the money. But that's my like if I already have a physical copy of it, I'm not going to spend a lot of money to get a different physical copy of it unless the only time I've done this is I gave you my old copy of Beach Read and I bought myself a new copy that matched the like other covers I had, but I gave away my old copy. So,
The only thing I have like some illustrated editions of a series that I really like, but I only have that. Like I
yeah.
don't have the regular ones. I don't want multiple of the same books because I don't have a ton of book space. So like
Yeah, space is very limited and yeah, I just can't justify spending the money.
speaking of space, who's more likely to turn their house into a live-in library? Three, two, one. Um, yeah. I think as you and Luke can make it a library book or library game
Yeah.
house, he's more on board, I
Yeah.
think, than Blake could be. I need Blake to get more into games so we can have the vibe, the eclectic vibe where we decorate all together.
Yeah, Luke really likes the book aesthetic even though he's not a reader.
Mm, yeah. So Luke needs to wear Blake down.
Mhm.
So we'll work on this. We'll work on it. Okay. Who's more likely to judge a book by its cover?
Oof.
No.
I don't I don't know. Depends on the book.
Yeah, I think we both do this.
Yeah. I have to tell a little story here. Tangent. I picked up um oh, why am I forgetting what it's called? It was a novella that you read once upon no
Oh, Once More Upon a Time.
once more upon a time.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I can remember the cover and that's why I'm like I remember what it looked like.
Yeah.
Don't remember the details of the cover, like the name. But I picked it up from the library and the my library you have to like ask for your holds. They have them in a back room and so the librarian went and got them and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this cover is beautiful." And then we were talking about like she's like, "You know, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by a cover, but I'm judging this book by its cover and I want to read it."
It's really cute.
So that was funny to me.
Have you read it yet?
Yeah, I finished it in like 2 hours. It's very short.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay. Um, this one's fine. Who's more likely to write their own book one day?
Yeah.
Yay! I can't wait to read it. Well, that's fun. I feel like we know each other the same. I was about to say we know each other better now, but I think we did pretty well. If we were like doing the like newlywed game, everyone would clap for us because we were so on point.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Proud.
Yeah.
But which of these things did you struggle with? Did any of our answers surprise you? Did you think one would be totally me or Anna? Maybe try it out with your book bestie.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, thanks for watching and
Like and subscribe.
bye.
Bye.